President Trump's daughter-in-law Vanessa opened a letter containing an unknown substance that was addressed to the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., according to the New York Police Department. Although the NYPD claims the substance was non-hazardous, the New York Fire Department said 3 people were transported to a local hospital with minor injuries. This blatant threat reminds us of the anthrax letter attacks against Congress in the weeks after 9/11, attacks targeting specific politicians who opposed the Patriot Act, and the anthrax used in those attacks ultimately traced back to the Fort Detrick Biodefense Lab, thereby revealing the deep state nature and hand behind the attacks. Speaking of the deep state, Q has been dropping bombshells over the past several days. I spent 3 hours on Sunday listening to Dr. Jerome Corsi on the We the People 24/7 Patriots channel, decoding much of it, and to those in the community who continue to refer to Q and those who report on Q information as shills, shake off your hubris, open your eyes and ears, and listen. Jerome Corsi explains.
Q is in on a level of intelligence. This level of intelligence has never been shared with the American people ever. Not like this, not in its real-time form. This is an exceptional historical event, I believe. And those who doubt it just have not had a lot of experience with intelligence. I mean, it's clear that we're getting inside very high level, I believe, military intelligence that is being shared with us to spread the word, spread the awareness, get people prepared for what Trump is going to have to do to ultimately beat this coup d'etat, and how deeply it extends into the CIA, into the Department of Justice, FBI, the State Department, and the Obama White House. I mean, this is, rooting out a cancer at the highest level of government.
As cited at the opening of this video, the deep state shadow government is targeting the president and his family in increasingly desperate ways as their entire supra-governmental crime cartel and traitorous politicians are exposed. And Q notes, the age of tech has hurt their ability to hide, control. Majority today were born into the circle. Investigate those in front of the camera who scream the loudest. End is near. The media cleanse, JFK. And of course, that post begins with the inner circle. Mika Brzezinski, the MSNBC Morning Joe host, cited specifically, whose father, Zig Banu, authored the Grand Chessboard.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job. And that is our job.
Family, careers, McLean, Virginia. It's all CIA, folks. And again, Q ended that post with the media cleanse JFK, which is a direct reference to the historic speech Kennedy gave to the press corps in which he exposed the monolithic conspiracy that threatened and continues to threaten our republic.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
And on February 10th, Q posted, "Rest in peace, Mr. President, JFK. Through your wisdom and strength since your tragic death, patriots have planned, installed, and by the grace of God, activated the beam of light. We will forever remember your sacrifice. May you look down from above and continue to guide us as we ring the bell of freedom and destroy those who wish to sacrifice our children, our way of life, and our world. We, the people." Prayer said every single day in the OO. That's the Oval Office, friends. JFK Secret Societies. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Now for a couple of Q's most recent bombshells, Q cites CIA Operation Mockingbird and says, let's hunt the spook and expose those CIA operatives in the media who are glorifying North Korea, which Q calls a CIA black site. A statement which extends to this February 12th post from Q, reminding us of Bill Clinton's 2009 meeting in North Korea with Kim Jong-il. And please note the presence of John Podesta standing directly behind the former president. Podesta was the head of the Liberal Center for American Progress at the time. The think tank was seeded with $3 million in startup funding in 2003 from George Soros, who has continued to fund it ever since with his Open Society Institute. The Center for American Progress does extremely well, too, with revenues averaging $35 to $40 million a year from 2009 to 2012. Further, Q asks, what are they sitting on? perfectly lined up. Why? Bill Clinton and Kim Jong-il are seated directly over what may be poppies on the carpeting, certainly they're flowers. According to Mint Press, North Korea is a major opium producer, making it a prime target for the CIA. But it doesn't end there. North Korea is also a Tier 3 country, those who do not comply with human trafficking laws as listed by the U.S. Department of State, and the country is a source country of men, women, and children for sex trafficking and forced labor. On February 12th, Q also posted Flowers and Gardens. Learn the hidden symbolism, and Q linked to a 2008 article about slavery in America based on a book by Charles Ball, a black man who lived 40 years as a slave. Q writes, what does a flower represent? What does deflower represent? And in the following post, Q noted, think children, think slaves, think sheep. Which brings us back to the presence of John Podesta on that 20-hour 2009 trip to North Korea. Podesta, a man who Andrew Breitbart called a world-class underage sex slave op cover-upper who defends unspeakable dregs. Why did Podesta make that trip? Recall that the purpose of Bill Clinton making that trip to Pyongyang in 2009 was to seek the release of 2 detained American quote-unquote journalists who had been sentenced to 12 years of hard labor. The journalists were Laura Ling and Una Lee. Laura is the sister of Lisa Ling, former co-host of The View and currently the host of This Is Life with Lisa Ling on CNN. The 2 women claim they were working on a story about human trafficking for current TV along the Chinese-North Korean border when they were stopped by soldiers. Upon their release and return to Los Angeles aboard a private plane with Bill Clinton, a plane, by the way, owned by Steve Bing, as opposed to a military-sanctioned aircraft. Bing, by the way, reportedly has taken multiple trips on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express. But upon returning to L.A., they were welcomed by none other than Al Gore, the founder of the media company that employed said journalists. Gore later sold Current TV, a failing enterprise, to Qatar-based Al Jazeera for $500 million, and Gore pocketed nearly $100 million as the co-founder of the fledgling network. And here we have yet another connection with the Democratic elite being associated with known human traffickers. In 2011, it was reported that a high-ranking Qatari diplomat in the United States was involved in human trafficking, which led to a lawsuit filed on March 25, 2011 in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. against Essa Mohammed El Manai, Qatar's second highest-ranking diplomat in the U.S., who enjoyed the protection of diplomatic immunity. According to the Center for Public Integrity, the lawsuit renewed criticism of the U.S. State Department, which was under Hillary Clinton's leadership at the time, of not doing enough to address persistent complaints of human rights abuses, think human trafficking and sexual abuse, by visiting foreign officials. Ultimately, the 2 journalists, Ling and Lee, allegedly appear in this photo eating pizza with a child, allegedly at Comet Ping Pong. And according to WikiLeaks, the photo was allegedly attached in an email sent by Doug Band to Bill Clinton, John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Huma Abedin, and others, and the email read, as John stated, "It doesn't get any better than this." Now, according to Reddit's Pleading the Yif, the photo may have an innocent explanation, but given the outside facts we've just covered and Q's breadcrumbs, there may be something far more sinister going on, leading us directly back to the horrific Pizzagate allegations of child sex trafficking involving Washington, D.C. elite. Now, we'll conclude part 1 of this Q update with this disturbing post. As I read it, consider the ramifications of everything we've just covered in this video. North Korea as a CIA black site, poppy production, heroin flooding American neighborhoods and streets, child sex trafficking, the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong, the Clintons and Laura Silsby in Haiti, and Tony Podesta's taste in art. Q writes, coincidence the Matrix movie grew people as a crop, used for energy, and controlled their mind? Sound familiar? Wonder where they derived that idea from. Deeper we go, the more unrealistic it all becomes. The end won't be for everyone. That choice, to know, will be yours. To know how truly evil and how dark it gets, folks, stay tuned. And stay tuned for part 2, in which Q points the finger at Ruth Bader Ginsburg and implies that she knew Scalia was murdered and did nothing. And Q calls John McCain an outright traitor, saying a world without this man is a world better off. Thanks for tuning in, and for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com. So very much more to come. God bless.
The evil of this, I mean, the satanic nature of the pedophilia that's going on, and the combination of the Satanism with the pedophilia is going to be shocking to the average American.